So you might say, well, I only eat organic, and so my foods aren't sprayed with pesticides. And that's awesome, but the problem is water supply has been contaminated with glyphosate. So even your organically grown fruits and vegetables, if that farmer is using a regional water supply, it's likely that it's contaminated with glyphosate. And so before we get on the topic of how to make toxic or non-edible food edible, I want to mention probably the best all-around detoxifier that's available today on the market. It's called Clean Slate by the Root brands. And this is the only thing that can clear out environmental pollutants such as glyphosate and the heavy metal toxicity that is so prevalent in today's world on the nano-size level. So what we're seeing in these photographs of this blood dark field microscopy appear to be some sort of nanotech. So this is a state-of-the-art cutting-edge detoxifier. It is made out of zeolite and clinophthalate crystals, which actually will engulf. And I have another video on this channel that I talk all about Clean Slate, but these crystals will engulf environmental toxins in your blood. So this photo is a dark field microscopy blood sample photo of the blood of an individual who had received a recent medication, and their blood had these very curious metallic magnetic particles in it. And the scientist, Dr. Carolyn Mansfield, did a lot of experiments with these blood samples and using the product Clean Slate. And what we're seeing here is the clinophthalate crystal, which is the ultraviolet colored large object, engulfing or neutralizing the metallic pollutant. Okay, how to make toxic food edible. So number one, if your food has a thin skin, such as apples, grapes, tomatoes, broccoli, cilantro, anything with a thin skin, you have to wash it, even if it's organic. An exception might be the pre-washed baby greens that you can purchase in the United States. There are several methods you can use to wash your food. I don't personally feel that it's necessary to purchase the organic produce wash that you can get in certain health food stores such as Whole Foods, because there are perfectly, unless you've got the spare money to throw around, there are perfectly more economical ways to wash your produce at home. Number one would be baking soda and vinegar. So you can use any kind of vinegar. You can use both baking soda and vinegar, or one or the other in a pinch, but it's better to use both. Now you want to first fill your bowl with water, and it's not rocket science, it's not an exact measurement. I just throw in some baking soda, also known as sodium bicarbonate, and then a splash of vinegar. And like I said, even white distilled vinegar will work. Then if it's very concentrated, you're going to have some kind of little reaction, and that is the cleanser that is created. And so then you want to soak your grapes for at least 20 minutes. Another way to wash your produce is to use food-grade hydrogen peroxide. Food-grade hydrogen peroxide is 35% as opposed to the 3.5% that you can get in the drugstore, which is also in the brown bottle, which also has other toxic chemicals added to it. So you never want to use that store-bought at CVS or Long's or whatever you have in your area. You never want to use that to wash your food. But if you can get your hands on some food-grade hydrogen peroxide, that's one of my favorite products. It has so many uses. You can just put a few drops, if you have a bowl of water that you're going to wash, say your grapes or your tomatoes, just put a couple, maybe 2-3 drops of food-grade hydrogen peroxide, soak it for 20 minutes, and you're good to go. Also plants, your house plants will love it if you add a few drops into the watering can, because it's like the hydrogen peroxide that comes in the rain. So plants really enjoy that. The third way to wash your produce could be ozone, ozonated water, if you have your own ozone generator, which I do. And if you're interested in more about ozone, then I have plenty of videos on my channel about ozone, and ozone generator link will be below. If you do purchase food-grade hydrogen peroxide, some local stores might have it, but if you purchase it online, it will cost you something because it is combustible and is considered a hazmat. So once you've washed your produce, then you can place it by your Organite for 20 to 40 minutes. Organite is a passive energy device and negative ion generator. It passively generates field effects or atmospheric enhancements to the immediate environment of the Organite. Organite is based on the orgone energy discovery and devices developed by Wilhelm Reich in the 1930s. Organite is made from finely ground crystals and metals, which are then molded and compressed into various objects, such as shields, pyramids, charge plates, jewelry, and other EMF protection products. They are composed of a crystalline powder which is suspended in a resinous matrix. It is the compression of the crystal powder which occurs as the resin sets, which is the source of the free or passive energy generated by the Organite. This effect is known as piezoelectricity and was discovered in the 18th century. Anyone who has ever worn a quartz watch has actively used piezoelectricity. The piezoelectricity in Organite has the ability to alter and harmonize the local atmosphere of whatever is in its proximity, thus transforming disharmonic frequencies into harmonic or life-supporting frequencies. They are well known as EMF neutralizers, as Organite is able to harmonize and correct the incoherent frequencies radiating from our modern technological devices. In the context of correcting food, here's how it works. If the food has been microwaved or sprayed with pesticides, or has been watered with herbicide-contaminated water, the food will display a negative or counter-rotational spin when tested with a pendulum. I demonstrate and explain this procedure in depth in my last video, which is entitled, "What is Organite and How to Use It for the Most Important Things in Life." That video was getting way too long, so I made this video as a follow-up to go more deeply into the topic of food and detoxification. If you would enjoy hearing more about Organite and seeing the demonstration, be sure to watch that video, which I will link below and on the end screen of this video. For the sake of this video, the point I wanted to share is that simply by placing a piece of Organite near your food for as little as 5, but ideally 20 to 40 minutes, will, quote, correct your food, even if it has been sprayed with pesticides or microwaved. In both of those instances, the food will be life force draining or entropic, instead of life force giving or neg entropic. So here's where we have to get our head around Organite and subatomic structure. So chemicals are made of molecules. Chemicals, including pesticides, are made of molecules. Molecules are made of atoms. Atoms are made of subatomic particles. Subatomic particles are merely vibratory wave patterns of sound and light which respond to vibration, and they respond to energy fields. And this is where the magic of Organite comes in, because Organite, whether it's in this, like this sleeping pod or this pyramid or this charge plate that I'm going to show you, it has the ability to change the molecular structure or the molecular flow due to the field effects generated by the piezoelectricity. Now, in a pinch, even 5 minutes will correct it. But if you have the time, it's better a little bit longer, because you really, just think about it, you're reorganizing the molecular structure of your food. And you're changing, again, what's a pesticide? It's a chemical. You're changing, you're rearranging, you're going underneath, guys. This is why this is so cool. You're going a step subtler than the game that they're doing on us with the toxins, okay? So a pesticide is chemical. Chemical has a certain molecular structure. But when you use the organite, you're rearranging the molecular structure, so you're breaking the rules, and you're making the molecular structure into something that is harmonic, that something it is into negentropic and life-giving, centripetal spin. So thank you so much for watching, everyone, and I hope you found that helpful. If you did watch the video I posted yesterday, you'll notice that there's a little bit of repeat content. But in this video, I wanted to just go really deep on food and detoxification. But the other video, which I'm going to link at the end screen, is the full deep dive into Organite, all its uses, and more.